New Zealand's culture is a unique blend of Maori, European, or Pākehā, Pacific Island, and Asian influences, reflecting its diverse population and history. At the heart of this culture is the indigenous Maori people, whose traditions and values are deeply integrated into the nation's identity. Below are some key aspects of New Zealand's culture and traditions. Māori culture. Te Reo Māori, the Maori language, is one of New Zealand's official languages, alongside English and New Zealand Sign Language. Efforts to revitalize Te Reo Māori are ongoing, and it is frequently used in everyday life, ceremonies, and education. Maori art and crafts, like traditional arts such as carving, known as whakairo, and weaving, or raranga, are central to Maori culture. These are often used in the decoration of marae, which are tribal meeting houses, waka or canoes, and other cultural symbols. Tattoos, or tamoko, are another important form of Maori expression. The Haka, a traditional war dance, is one of the most well-known aspects of Maori culture. It is often performed at important ceremonies, celebrations, and by New Zealand's sports teams, notably the All Blacks rugby team. A marae is a communal or sacred place that serves as a venue for community meetings, celebrations, and funerals. It is an important aspect of Maori social and cultural life. Maori culture is rich with stories about the creation of New Zealand, or Aotearoa, natural elements, and heroic ancestors. Figures like Maui, a legendary demigod, play a key role in these tales. Pākehā, or European, influence. British colonial influence. European, particularly British, settlers began arriving in the 19th century, influencing New Zealand's language, architecture, education, and legal systems. The Treaty of Waitangi, signed in 1840 between Maori chiefs and the British Crown, remains a foundational part of the nation's governance and Maori-European relations. Christian holidays and values. Many European traditions, such as celebrating Christmas and Easter, have been adopted, though they often incorporate local influences. Pacific Island influence. Due to New Zealand's proximity to Polynesia and its sizable Pacific Islander community, cultures from places like Samoa, Tonga, and Fiji have also contributed to New Zealand's diverse cultural landscape. This is seen in festivals, music, and food, like the popular Pasifika festival in Auckland. Contemporary culture. The term Kiwi refers to the people of New Zealand, and it reflects a laid-back, friendly, and adventurous spirit. New Zealanders are proud of their connection to nature, often enjoying outdoor activities like hiking, surfing, and rugby. Rugby is more than just a sport in New Zealand. It's a significant part of the country's identity. The national rugby team, the All Blacks, has a global following, and their pre-match haka is a celebrated tradition. New Zealand cuisine blends traditional Maori ingredients, such as kumara, a type of sweet potato, and seafood, with European and Pacific influences. The traditional Maori feast, called hangi, involves cooking food in a pit oven, using heated stones. Cultural celebrations and events. Waitangi Day, celebrated on February 6th, marks the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi and is a day of reflection on the nation's history and Maori-European relations. Matariki, the Maori New Year, is celebrated with the rising of the Pleiades star cluster. It is a time for remembrance, celebrating the present and planning for the future, marked by feasts, arts, and cultural events. New Zealand has a vibrant music scene, with Maori and Pacific Island music and dance influences being prominent. The use of taongapuoro, traditional Maori musical instruments, adds a unique sound to performances. Traditional clothing. Traditional Maori cloaks, known as kakahu, are made from feathers and flax and worn during ceremonies, special events, or by leaders to symbolize status. The poi is a performance art using tethered balls swung rhythmically, often seen in kapahaka performances. New Zealand's culture is a dynamic, ever-evolving blend of tradition and modernity, rooted deeply in respect for the land, the sea, and a collective national identity that honors both Maori and European heritage. Economic growth and development. In the 2010s, New Zealand's economy was relatively stable, recovering from the global financial crisis of 2007-2008. Key industries included agriculture, tourism, and export-oriented sectors such as dairy, meat, and wine production. Housing prices were on the rise, but affordability issues were not as severe as they would become. Now, in the 2020s, the economy has seen steady growth, but the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted tourism, a major contributor in 2020-2021. The government introduced fiscal stimulus to support businesses and workers, and now post-pandemic recovery is underway. Housing affordability, however, has become a major issue, with property prices skyrocketing over the past decade, leading to new government policies aimed at curbing speculation and supporting first-time homebuyers. Environmental policies and sustainability. In the 2010s, New Zealand's clean and green image was heavily promoted, though concerns were growing about environmental degradation, water pollution, especially from dairy farming, and climate change. Conservation efforts for native species were underway, but there was growing pressure for stronger environmental policies. Now, in the 2020s, New Zealand has taken significant steps towards sustainability, including the government's commitment to achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2050. The Zero Carbon Act of 2019 set out a framework for climate change mitigation. Conservation efforts have ramped up, and there has been increased investment in renewable energy, particularly wind and solar power. The country continues to lead in ecotourism and preservation of natural habitats. Social change and inclusivity. In the 2010s, social issues such as gender equality, LGBTQ+ rights, and racial inclusivity were increasingly in the public conversation. The 2013 legalization of same-sex marriage marked a major milestone in social progress. There was growing awareness of Maori rights and the importance of addressing historical grievances, particularly in relation to the Treaty of Waitangi. Now, in the 2020s, New Zealand has further solidified its reputation as a progressive and inclusive nation. Jacinda Ardern, who became Prime Minister in 2017, has championed policies around child poverty reduction, mental health, and inclusivity. Her leadership during the Christchurch mosque shootings in 2019 was widely praised, as was her government's response, including swift gun law reforms. The focus on Maori health, education, and political representation has increased, and the Maori economy is playing a growing role in the national landscape. Technological advancements. In the 2010s, New Zealand was steadily advancing in digital technologies, but broadband and high-speed internet were still being expanded, especially in rural areas. The tech sector was growing, particularly in fields like software development, film with the success of Weta Digital, and agriculture technologies. Now, in the 2020s, New Zealand has fully embraced the digital economy, with significant growth in the tech sector. The expansion of ultra-fast broadband, or UFB, has provided greater access to internet services nationwide, including rural regions. The country is becoming a hub for startups, innovation, and tech companies, particularly in fintech, biotechnology, and clean technologies. Remote working, prompted by the COVID-19 pandemic, has also accelerated digital transformation in various industries. Political landscape. In the 2010s, the political landscape was dominated by the National Party under John Key, and later Bill English, focusing on economic growth, trade, and a balanced budget. The Labour Party, under Jacinda Ardern, gained popularity towards the end of the decade, with a focus on social welfare, housing, and environmental policies. Now, in the 2020s, the Labour Party under Jacinda Ardern has been a dominant force, winning a historic majority in the 2020 election. Her government's handling of the pandemic, alongside a strong focus on social equity, housing, and climate change, has resonated with voters. The government is now focusing on rebuilding the economy post-COVID and tackling issues such as affordable housing, climate change, and Māori development. Tourism and global reputation. In the 2010s, tourism was a significant economic driver for New Zealand, with millions of visitors flocking to see its natural beauty and cultural heritage. Adventure tourism and ecotourism were particularly popular, and New Zealand became a destination for travelers seeking outdoor experiences. Now in the 2020s, the COVID-19 pandemic had a dramatic impact on tourism, as borders were closed for much of 2020 and 2021. The tourism industry is now recovering, with a renewed focus on sustainable tourism and managing the environmental impact of visitors. New Zealand's international reputation as a safe, beautiful, and environmentally conscious country has only strengthened in the wake of the pandemic and Ardern's global leadership. Housing crisis. In the 2010s, housing prices were rising steadily, particularly in major cities like Auckland, leading to affordability concerns for many New Zealanders. Now, in the 2020s, the housing market has reached crisis levels, with prices soaring across the country. Government interventions, such as restrictions on foreign buyers and efforts to increase housing supply, have been introduced to cool the market and make homes more affordable, but challenges remain. Education and workforce development. In the 2010s, New Zealand had a strong focus on education, with a well-regarded public school system and a growing tertiary education sector. International students were a major part of the education economy. Now, in the 2020s, the focus has shifted more toward equity in education, with efforts to reduce gaps in achievement between Māori and Pākehā students. Digital learning has become more integrated into the school system, especially due to the pandemic. Workforce development now includes a focus on upskilling and preparing the population for jobs in tech, sustainability, and healthcare. Health and well-being. In the 2010s, New Zealand's healthcare system was considered one of the better public systems globally, with good outcomes in most areas of care. Now, in the 2020s, mental health has become a greater focus in national healthcare policy. The government has made significant investments in mental health services and addressing issues such as youth suicide, substance abuse, and depression. New Zealand also demonstrated one of the world's most effective responses to the COVID-19 pandemic, including quick lockdowns and vaccine rollouts, which minimized its impact on the population. In the 2010s, there was growing awareness of Māori issues, with progress being made in the areas of land settlements and Treaty of Waitangi reparations. Now, in the 2020s, Māori Development has been a key focus of Jacinda Ardern's government, with increased emphasis on Māori health, education, and economic empowerment. The government has been working more closely with iwi, tribes, to develop initiatives that support Māori-led economic and social development. Over the last decade, New Zealand has navigated through significant social, economic, and environmental changes. With a growing focus on sustainability, inclusivity, and innovation, the nation continues to evolve, addressing both challenges and opportunities to maintain its unique identity and global standing.